Mark, a couple of weeks ago, you said on CNBC you don't foresee a rate hike happening in 2015.
Correct.
If it does come, do you think that would be the biggest mistake ever made by the Fed?
No, they've made so many mistakes. That wouldn't be the biggest. But as usual, I, of course, totally disagree with the IMF. The global economy is not strengthening, it is weakening, because China is weakening. The US economic statistics recently have been on the weak side. I'm agnostic towards monetary policies. I think they should have increased rates a long time ago. I don't think they should have cut it to zero.
But then they would have killed the recovery, Mark.
Well, that is your view. That is the view of Keynesian interventionists, that there's no substance, there's no proof that this would have been the case.
So you think
this is just an assumption.
So you think when rates go up that the economy should be able to continue on its current path?
Well, I believe that if rates hadn't gone down as much as they did, the housing market, for instance, would have gone down further and become affordable for poor people like you and me. Now, the housing market in the US is unaffordable for a large number of people, especially for students who just finished their studies and have large student loans. You understand? Mm-hmm. There are two things to consider in economics. Affordability. Is something affordable and is something not affordable? The monetary policies as conducted by the Federal Reserve have actually created a lot of unaffordability in the system. And it would have been better to create affordability, in other words, that real incomes would go up. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the last 15 years, real incomes for the median household have gone down in the US.
So US equities, all in all, long or short of them?
Well, you know, it's dangerous to short when you have money printers in power and professors and academics that are bound to eventually ruin the world, bankrupt the world. So, you know, the short side has to be treated stock by stock. But I would say the market in the US, from a valuation point of view, and relative to other markets in the world, is completely unattractive. European stocks represent much better value, and it's not true that Europe is slower than in the US. In the US you have a slowdown, in Europe you have an improvement in margins, so I think European equities will continue to outperform. They have already outperformed. Asian equities will also outperform the US over say the next 10 years.
So Europe has, as you said, already outperformed. Would you be buying them again today?
Well, I'm not saying that I would necessarily buy European stocks today, but the one thing I can say is, if you give me $1 million right now, and my choice is to buy French government bonds, 10 years, yielding 0.35%, or Spanish government bonds yielding 1.34%, or Swiss government bonds with a negative yield, then I buy the stock market, yielding in some countries 3 to 5%.
Mm-hmm. What is the biggest bubble out there? And based on what you just said, do you think, you know, in line with many other investors out there, that the biggest bond bubble out there is in Eurozone government debt?
Well, there is a big bubble in debt, period, in financial assets, period. But the biggest bubble is the belief that central bankers know what they do. They have no clue. That is the biggest bubble. Of course, the fund management industry loves central bankers because they bail them out. When you print money, financial assets go up, your fees go up, your performance fees go up, and then it benefits you. But as an economist, and it also benefited me and you, and we all benefit who are related to the financial sector. But as an economist and social observer, I have to tell you that these policies are a complete disaster, and you will see the consequences in the years to come.